All right, guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about evidence suggesting that things are ticking down a little bit in today's market, but the 5 reasons that shows that it is anything but normal. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Robert Carroll with the Gold Path Real Estate Group, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in the market today. One of the questions that I'm starting to hear more and more often is, are we starting to head more into a quote-unquote normal market? Well, you know what? Evidence is starting to point to the market cooling ever so slightly a little bit. But if you think about normal, the Merriam-Webster dictionary, they classify normal as conforming to a type, standard, or regular pattern characterized by that which is considered unusual, typical, or routine. So I want to break down about 5 things that are going on in the market right now that are relative to that. All right, the first topic I want to talk about today is mortgage rates. If you think about mortgage rates, that's pretty much what has fueled the demand over the past year or so. No doubt the meaning of home has changed in that time. But what we saw earlier, we didn't get the listing inventory that we needed. And oh, by the way, the rates fell. If you start to look at rates by decade, the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s and such, seeing what you know now, what would be considered normal rates. Certainly an interest rate in the 6s, maybe even in the 4s, 4s being, still low by historical standards. But when you go back to the 70s and 80s, 8% wasn't even considered very high. Whatever the case may be. Look at today. Today we sit at about a 2.87% on an average 30-year fixed. So a lot of the instability maybe in the world, some of the issues with the job market going on right now are giving us these rates, lower rates for longer periods of time. We certainly wouldn't consider that a normal market by historic standards. All right, the next thing I want to look at is home price appreciation. That's going to be something that we look at, say, okay, are we heading into a more normal market with the home price appreciation? Now, if you look at appreciation by the year, and most recently this year, this Black Knight study is saying about 14% appreciation last year. And we're seeing a ton of appreciation in homes. And if you look at these red bars over here, those were the years that the market was going down in appreciation, depreciation. But what we know now is that the average appreciation, and you see it right there, that orange bar right there in the middle is at 4.1%. Now it's interesting because before the pandemic and for forever, appreciation was at 3.8% every single year. But with this last year and a half of strong appreciation of over 10% plus, has raised that average to 4.1%. And right now, with the appreciation that we're sitting in, that's anything but normal right now. It's just very, very heavy, robust home price appreciation across the country. All right, next up is the number of months of inventory supply, which has been the biggest issue in housing, no doubt. Basically, what that refers to, month supply, it's simply just the amount of months it would take the current inventory of homes on the market to sell given the current sales pace. So basically, if we have 10 homes for sale and we're selling about 1 home per month, we have 10 months supply. Now, we've been nowhere near that for quite some time now, and we've seen this balanced market typically being in between 4 and 6 months of inventory. All right, so where do we sit today? Right now, we're at about 2.6 months of supply on the market right now. And this chart goes all the way back to 2011, which is 10 years. And if you can see this kind of this ride down to where we sit in the lack of available inventory across the country, that's anything but normal. We need more homes in the market. And this fall's market right now is really dependent on how many people put their homes on the market coming up. All right, next we're going to look at the average days on market, or the amount of days that it actually takes to sell a home as compared from today's market. And you're looking at July right now, 17 days to sell a home. And you go back and you look at this graph going back to March of 2019, and you see some of the days there, and you notice that 42 days, 49 days, right there at some of the peaks. But think about that, a month and a half to sell a home, and that's not an unrealistic time frame at all. But 17 days, that's a quick turnaround to sell a home. And if you think about that, that's by the time that all the I's are being dotted and the T's are being crossed when it comes to the contracts. But make no mistake about it right now, homes are selling very, very quickly, which, is anything but normal. All right, so number 5 is the number of offers per listing. So this is just the national average on the number of offers made on a particular listing. Typically we've seen that number right at around 2 offers per listing. As of right now, we're at 4.5. And at the peak, the last spring that just passed, we're over 5 offers per listing. But certainly not a normal market, relative to the number of offers that were being received on listings. We want to keep that in mind because people say, well, the market may be cooling off. Is this something that we're heading into, something that's more normal? The answer is no. When we look at, what's happening right now in real estate today, it is anything but normal. Guys, I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me during this video. If you have any questions about your particular real estate market, or if you have any questions about the process or just need to be made feel comfortable, all my contact information right down below, guys. Feel free to connect with me at any time. Love to help you out any way I can. Have a great night.